Your eyes do not deceive you. Yes, we are on Out Pocket with Michael Davis, and we got two treats for you. Not one, but two, because I'm being joined by the returning man on Top Rope Tuesday. You guys missed him. We get a special treat today. We got from Mouthing Off with Mike, the other Mike. You'll know if you know in a second. And first-time guest from the Darion Hopkins Sports Show. He's the real DHop. We got Darion in the show. I don't love Mike's football team, the Philadelphia Eagles. Even if it was preseason, my team beat Darion's team this past weekend for preseason. So I'm having a great time. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get this show started. It is time to get out of pocket. How can you not be hyped after that opening video package? And if you guys were seeing the other mic, now you know if you know. Guys, we got a stacked show for you today. And I don't know if Mike knew this, but I also hacked his Twitter account and we're streaming on his Twitter account. So
all right,
going still his audience.
Sounds good.
We're going still his audience. Super excited that Darion blocked out some time to hop on. This has been a few weeks in the making. Super, super excited. And what I am not excited about is the Falcons preseason games. Why? Because why would you draft a quarterback in the first round knowing he's going to be a backup to a guy with a bum Achilles? But then let's say, hey, we're not going to play him in our second preseason game. We're not going to play him in our third preseason game when rookie quarterbacks need to have that reps in preseason to get accustomed to the NFL level. I wrote an article for Fans First Sports Network earlier this year saying Raheem Morris was by far the worst hire for NFL head coaches, and he's proven me right. And we're not even into week one of the NFL season. Like, is this bad? Why are you not playing a rookie quarterback who needs the reps in the preseason? And if something were to happen to Kirk Cousins, you throw Michael Penix out there with less reps, and it just doesn't make sense. I understand when teams don't play their stars. I understand when they, say, hey, this guy's going to start for us week one. We don't want a catastrophic injury to happen. But why do you draft Penix? And more importantly, why do you not play him in the preseason? Darion, it's your first time on Out of Pocket, so we'll go ahead and throw it to you, my guy. What do you think about Raheem Morris and his terrible coaching?
Well, the Atlanta Falcons was trolling the Las Vegas Raiders because we all knew the Las Vegas Raiders needed a quarterback. Let's just be 100% clear there. We all knew that we needed a quarterback in the draft, and Michael Penix was right there in our lap until the Atlanta Falcons just decides to draft a quarterback out of the blue, knowing they just gave Kirk Cousins all this money, which it doesn't make any sense whatsoever when it comes to that. But Raheem Morris, I don't think he's a bad coach. You know what I'm saying? I think he's a great defensive mind coach. Hopefully he has a good offensive coordinator. I don't know who the offensive coordinator is in Atlanta, but whoever the offensive coordinator is there in Atlanta, hopefully they could, get Michael Penix up to speed. Now, what I did see in preseason, I did like what I saw, and I see why they probably want to sit him out a little bit. But at the same time, I still think we still need to see more from him, just because he is a rookie and he still needs those reps. So with me, I'm not really mad at Raheem Morris. I was a big fan of Raheem Morris becoming a Raiders coach a couple of years back. When he was going to be that, like when he was the defensive coordinator for the Rams at the time, and they were Raiders was looking into head coaches around that time. So I don't really have no issue with Raheem Morris. I do like what they did as far as Atlanta Falcons go defensively with Justin Simmons and Matthew Judon in that trade. I thought that was smart, knowing that Raheem Morris is a defensive mind. But the Atlanta Falcons did what they did. The NFL told them to not let the Raiders draft a quarterback at that spot. So that's why they end up going to get him, unfortunately.
Now, I will give the Falcons credit. I gave them credit last week when they made the Matthew Judon trade, and then like an hour after Aitman and I were off, I believe on last week, maybe a Monday or Tuesday. No, it was a Thursday. We do these out of pockets 4 days a week. I lose track of my days.
Run through all the days. It might have been Monday. It might have been a Tuesday.
Was it Friday? I can't even
Maybe.
remember. But we had just talked about the Judon trade, and then of course, like 30 minutes later, they go out and get Justin Simmons. So like, it's not all bad in Atlanta, but Mike, this is stupid. This is out of pocket.
Listen. I have no beef with Raheem Morris. Listen, I don't know the guy, so I can't. He doesn't owe me any money or anything. So I'm not gonna say anything regarding his coaching. But it is a confusing thing, to be honest. I agree with Darion. The Falcons really kind of shafted the Raiders in that draft. I mean, I myself was watching that draft, and I was like watching the draft. I was watching the way things were falling. I was like, all right, Raiders are going to go out there. They're going to get them a QB for the future. Like, I think this is the plan. And then Atlanta comes in out of the blue, drafts him. You got Kirk Cousins. My perception of this is it's confusing because you've got all of the other rookie quarterbacks have taken reps, and they're going to probably more than likely play, the second preseason game, some snaps, maybe even in number 3. We've seen Caleb in action. Unfortunately, we saw JJ McCarthy in action. He gets hurt. We've seen Bo Nix in action. We've seen Drake May. Just a few off the top of my head. So weird that he's not going to be seen in the next 2 games. Now, maybe they saw something they really liked and they don't want to risk something happening with JJ, because if I remember correctly, I know Penix had a lingering injury that kind of stunted his draft stock to begin with, if I recall correctly.
Yeah.
Me, if I'm wrong, but I think that might come into play here. And I think seeing what happened with McCarthy, they're like, ooh, okay, he's younger than Penix here in this situation. So we don't want to risk anything in these irrelevant games because we have a quarterback one who's coming back from one of the worst injuries you can get in football, an Achilles. So,
yeah. That's totally fair. By the way, if you're watching on the Boom Broadcasting YouTube channel right now, I just want to point out these guys look like 2 very professional podcasters. They got the same like headphones, they got the same microphone in the same position. Mike missed his backwards cap today. I don't know why.
I did my hair. I'm having a good hair day today. Listen, leave me alone. I don't get those often.
I gotta fix mine under here, so that's why I actually have a hat on. I usually don't wear a hat, so
yeah, I love a good hat.
Man, I should have thrown my hat on today. We could have made Mike feel a little left out. And
no, yeah, absolutely.
Y'all good.
That's what Mike likes to do to me. He likes to make me feel left out. That's why he didn't tell me that he was running out of pocket on my socials today. But I'm happy because get some more views on all of these amazing people here today.
Yeah. Now, Darion, I don't get to ask many Raiders fans this question. But you did bring up Raheem Morris, and I have to ask, like, Antonio Pierce. I feel like that's a good step in the right direction for you guys. Would you have rather had Raheem Morris a couple years ago, or are you okay with how it's worked out with Antonio Pierce?
I actually happy that it worked out the way it worked out. Now, I only reason why I say that because I know me personally, I was a big fan of Rich Bisaccia keeping the job when he was there, knowing that he did take us to the playoffs and we almost beat the Bengals because of the Derek Carr pick, but other than another story there. But I thought Rich Bisaccia was going to keep it because what he did when he did take us to the playoffs, but he ended up not. So I feel like Mark Davis did the right thing, seeing what Antonio Pierce did in those last 9 games after Josh McDaniels got fired. And Mark Davis saw how those players gravitate and resonate with Antonio Pierce. So I think it was good. It was good to get Antonio Pierce to come on and bring the Raider way, the Raider culture back. You've seen it with the defense. Definitely, you see that defense was like number 1 in takeaways in the last 9 games in the NFL season. You see that we couldn't even get a turnover. You see that his mindset comes in and helps with the defensive coordinator. Now we got Luke Getsy over here on the offense. And now, deciding to go with Gardner Minshew instead of Aiden O'Connell. A lot of people are kind of skeptical about that. But I'm gonna believe in AP. I'm gonna try to be optimistic as much as possible, and hopefully we can keep Gardner Minshew as a consistent quarterback, because it's been rumors about DA being traded by the end of the year. So hopefully we can get that going. But I do like what Antonio Pierce is trying to implement and bringing back the Raider way and the Raider culture back to the Las Vegas Raiders.
And it's interesting you bring up Gardner Minshew. Mike got to experience a little Minshew magic over in Philadelphia. Dude, I know I'm taking this totally off script, but I just saw the Raiders stuff and I was like, hey, what better time to bring up the Raiders? Like, you won't have any other time. There. I mean, it's fair, but dude, like Mike, I don't know why Gardner Minshew hasn't had a chance to stick anywhere in the NFL. Like I was looking at his touchdown to interception ratio and I'm like, that's a starter in the NFL. Like, what's happened?
He's a good quarterback, man. I like the Minshew mania that ran through Philadelphia for that stretch. I thought he was gonna stick to a few different spots, but I'm happy for him. When I saw that announcement made by the Raiders, I was like, good for them. You know what I mean? Like, you're gonna stick with this guy, and I'm a big Antonio Pierce fan myself. I got to see him, defensive coordinator for the good old Sun Devils back at my time.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously before the 2022 and everything. We're not gonna get into that discussion. But yeah, Darion shaking his head. He knows. We're not going to get into that. I think he's a great football mind, and I think he's the exact, like he said, he's the guy that's going to get this team to that point. He's going to bring that chemistry. Whether they want to or not, he's going to get them back to the Raider culture and the winning ways. And I think that's a team, to watch out for, legitimately.
Really?
With him at the helm, I think he's a great coach, man. I really do. And like Darion said, he's going to be able to help that defense. And you've seen him help that defense just last year. So let's see what happens this year. It's the NFL landscape has shifted drastically coming into this season. I feel like it does every season, but I think things, if Mahomes doesn't exist on that side of the division, I think things would be way different.
Not gonna lie.
Just to piggyback off of Mike real quick when it comes to Gardner Minshew, the reason why I feel like he doesn't have his stick, because if you look at when he was with the Indianapolis Colts last year, of course they was not going to keep him around knowing that Anthony Richardson was coming back. We just knew that was happening, and knowing that he had a chance to be a starter somewhere in the Las Vegas Raiders in the quarterback situation that we have. Why not come here? I mean, he's getting paid almost 3 years, almost 20 million guaranteed for him to be a backup? Absolutely not. He's going to start, unfortunately.
Yeah, and again with that touchdown interception ratio, 59 touchdowns to 24 interceptions throughout his career. And he had like a little stint in Jacksonville, and he went 1-7, but what was the team around him? Like he didn't give fair opportunity there. And then in Indianapolis, he showed like, hey, I can throw for more than 60% completion percentage. I can throw for 3,000 yards. I can take care of the football. So yeah, who knows? Especially with the Chargers, I'm low on the Chargers. I'm not going to get into the Justin Herbert debate again today. Obviously, nothing's happening in Denver. Raiders might finish second in that division, but two teams who are going to finish pretty high in the standings and are actually competing for the World Series are the teams of these two guys right here. Mike is a Yankees guy. He's an Eagles guy, but he went Yankees. And then Darion likes his Phillies. So I don't know why you guys like, separate Philly teams.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I live in Philadelphia. I lived in California. I lived in Oakland, California for 5 years. That's how I became a Raiders fan as a youngin. So I lived in Oakland, California for 5 years, but I came back with no favorite team and came back a Raiders fan. So that's why I'm not an Eagles fan, number one. But everything else, like Phillies, Flyers, anything else, Philadelphia, besides the 76ers as well. No Sixers, no Eagles, but everything else is Philadelphia teams, basically.
See, that's funny because I'm a New Yorker from my core, but I lived in Pennsylvania, grew up in Pennsylvania, so I ended up becoming an Eagles fan. But one of the first sports I interacted with was baseball, and I became a Yankee fan. So very, very, man, I'm all New York on the rest. Like I'm a Knicks, I'm an Islanders. So that's a fun. This is fun. We're very similar in that regard. I like it.
Right?
What is
I like it.
What's that theory of like, a butterfly, lands in a different spot and then the whole like universe has changed? This is like the exact like example right here. We got the butterfly effect on Out of Pocket,
Oh my gosh.
I know,
What a
right?
reference.
Mike, imagine if that butterfly landed in just one different direction, you wouldn't have to suffer as an Eagles fan. How great would that
you know
be?
you know what he's
Mhm.
trying to imply, Darion? He keeps trying to like start this agenda of the Cowboys and the Eagles, that I should be a Cowboys fan. Why would I want to be a Cowboys fan? Why would anybody want to be a Cowboys fan? Am I right?
That's absolutely right. I mean, I see why. I see why Mike is saying that they beat us in the preseason because they forgot how they lost to us on Thanksgiving. So I get it. I get it.
Oh, Darion Out of Pocket right there. It took you what?
Perfectly
15,
in
16
pocket.
minutes to get Out of Pocket. By the way, I do want to offer this gift to you guys because I offered this to Austin Summers a couple weeks ago. He's a Giants fan. You know how miserable the Giants fans are right now. But here's a reason. You could get Cowboys 55, no, not even 50, 500. That's like 50 times 10, 500 piece puzzle. You got your hero Dak Prescott. You got Travis Frederick, you got Sean Lee, you got Zeke. This is the young Zeke too, by the way. And if you act right now, I will throw in this Cowboys little teddy bear right here. How cute is that? How cute is that?
I'm good. I'm good. You can keep it. That's okay. Appreciate it.
Okay, good, because it's a little fluffy. But what I did want to bring up is y'all's baseball teams are doing a lot better than the Rangers right now. We won the World Series last year. I will be soon getting my picture made with that World Series trophy when it makes its trip over to Hickory, North Carolina. Super excited about that. But I wanted to, not pit myself against you guys, but I want to pit yourself against each other. Mike's known for a promo battle or two. So I want you guys to defend your teams, who are two of the top 3 teams in Major League Baseball right now, next to the Dodgers. Do you believe your team has what it takes to win the World Series this year, and what's going to put them over the hump above the rest? I'm going to just open it up and see who's ballsy enough to step up to the plate first.
Let's go. Let me just say this, man. I really don't really watch my Phillies until October because that's when the magic happens. But I do watch when we play our rivals like Yankees and Braves and stuff of that nature. But one thing about my Phillies right now, we have some of the best people some of the best pitchers in our bullpen in the league. I understand we went 1 month that we slouched a lot, but we're right back on track. We're right back on track. Like, we about to beat the Braves tonight in Atlanta. I cannot wait for that. But Trey Turner named the NL Player of the Week. Like, let's do we have to keep this going? The Phillies been good all year. Was that one downfall last month? It made us it just made us turn up. Like, let's go. So when it comes to my guys and my boys, of course, we're going to see the Yankees. I'm ready for it. I'm ready for I'm going to let you know what the Phillies, what the Philadelphia fans say about the Yankees, the Stankies. I'm sorry, the Stankies. So that's what we call them because we can't stand them. But I feel like our pitching, I feel like our rotation at bat is good as well too. So I'm ready for Bryce Harper to do the darn thing. You know what I'm saying? So he's gonna be we're gonna be all right. We're gonna be all right. We had our slumps, but we back on track, and we making that run for October and get back to that World Series.
Mike, he hit you
I
with the
respect that.
stankies.
He hit me
Not
with
even
the
stanky
stankies.
leg.
That's
Not even the stanky leg.
it's tough because like I'm an Eagles fan, right? So I have a little love for the Phils, and I love to see the Phils doing good. I grew up in like I said, I grew up in the area. I got to see Chase Utley. I got to see Ryan Howard. That Phillies team was one of my favorites growing up. Next to, of course, the Derek Jeters and the A-Rods and the Posadas and the Riveras and the Pettits. So yeah, I got mad love for the Phils, right? But and it's to the point where I couldn't tell you right now. Listen, I would love to see the Yankees make that chase for 28, but they didn't address the concerns that we've had in the bullpen. They didn't go out there and do that at the deadline. They got a couple guys here and there. They picked up a couple pitchers. One of the guys that I think just got DFA'd. So it's like, what was the even point of that? We had a problem at closer. Clay Holmes leads the league in blown saves right now. And that's a guy that, if the Yankees get to the World Series, that's a guy you got to put out there in confidence and say, close the game for us. Game 7, World Series on the line. You got to get the save here. I'm not confident in that ability. And you got a manager in Boone who wants to make excuses and they'll change the lineup and take guys that are hot out in place of guys who are not hot. And, you didn't address these concerns. So I think the Yankees have the talent. That it's there. It's so there, right? When you've got a team of Aaron Judge and Juan Soto and Giancarlo Stanton, and this guy, Austin Wells, you've got the core, right? And a Gleyber Torres, if, when he starts to, get that pep in his step again, it's like, why are we not clicking on why are we losing games, to the White Sox? Why are we losing these tight games? Because the pitching and the starting pitching, it has been fine, gotten us to this point. It's the bullpen that fails us. So at the end of the day, I'd like to see the Yankees go, but I think the Phillies definitely are the stronger team here. And that's just me being an unbiased baseball watcher and seeing what I'm seeing. But then again, you gotta always worry about the Dodgers creeping in at the end. That's a team, man. That team's starting to get hot again, and you got to worry about Ohtani. So it's going to be very interesting. But I think I would give the edge to the Phillies. I think Darion, is right. They've had a stronger team this year. That's not to doubt out my Yankees. I think they have the pieces. It's just they got to put it in order. I'd be ashamed if Judge doesn't win a World Series as a Yankee. I think that's where we're at. He has to win.
Do you think Aaron Judge ever leaves the Yankees?
No. Maybe after the contract. Yeah, I could see him maybe.
The money is right. If the money is right, he will. I wouldn't say right now, but no. we are in baseball, where it's the highest paid sport out of all the major league sports. So people's going to go with where the money goes. But I think he's not going to go anywhere that's going to be a trash team and goes where the money. He's going to go where the money goes and somewhere where he can win. I just want to say right now, but in the near future, once his contract is done, then yeah.
Yeah, I could see post contract. I don't know how let's just say I could see definitely like a 36, 37-year-old Judge being in like a California team for a year or two. I could see it happening. I could definitely see it.
Now, I will say this, my screen was a little bit brighter a few minutes ago because I had a great idea that it wasn't going to be the Yankees. It wasn't going to be the Phillies. It wasn't going to be the Dodgers. There's 162 games in baseball, if I'm not mistaken. Okay. This certain team's played 126, which if I did the math right, there's 34 games left. And this team is, let's say, 12 and a half games outside of the wild card. You'd have to win, assuming, everything else works out, about 2/3 of the games left to make it a viable spot into the wild card. And then you're repeating World Series champions.
Oh, here we go.
Rangers.
This guy's delusional.
I don't
delusional
even believe
today.
that. I don't even believe that. But
I think you got to talk about Baltimore, man. Baltimore's a team that's so good.
Baltimore the last couple of years been really good.
They did it the right way, and they did it with that farm system. If you have a flourishing farm system in the MLB, you will do good things. If you can get those, that draft stock, you can get these guys, you can develop them in that farm system. You're a force to be reckoned with. That's what that's what the Yankees learned, over the last couple of years themselves. So Baltimore's a team you got to worry about. Obviously San Diego and the Diamondbacks, baby. The Diamondbacks, the Snakes are always slithering up in the standings.
Yeah,
I mean,
they're definitely creeping up.
Even the Guardians, Brewers, like there's like six different teams who are like within one game of each other. That is such a top heavy. I mean, that's probably explaining why the White Sox have lost all these games. Like everybody's going up to the top.
Yeah, it's what a shame. What a poor White Sox fans. I'm sorry to all of you out there. If you're watching, if you're a White Sox fan, I feel for your pain.
That's unfortunate.
Just go be a Cubs fan at this point. Even though the Cubs is not that great either, just go be a Cubs fan. I'm sorry. It's get to a point where when you lose almost 21, 24, 25, I don't know how many losing streak is that at this point. Just go to just go over to the Cubs. Just do that. Just find a different team outside of Chicago at this point.
I mean, honestly,
you got the Cardinals, the Brewers, the Cubs. You got options in the Midwest. The Twins, if you want to get crazy. The Tigers, not that much better, but still.
Hey, all them teams he just named is better than the White Sox.
That's fair.
No matter what record it is. So.
and Chris was on Out of Pocket for the first time last week. Me and Aaron, I believe that was a Monday episode. I'm getting my days back in order, guys. And Chris has Out of Pocket debut. He'll actually be back on Thursday with Podcast Smitty talking a little more baseball. And I knew I had to get Mike on this episode so he wouldn't text me and be like, "Bro, you had a baseball thing and didn't invite me." He gets his baseball out today. But man, facts better than the White Sox. Rick 8-Bit, shout out you guys. This is why we do our live shows, so people can, comment, interact, engage with us, be a part of the show along with us. It's quite the time. But the White Sox have become like what the LA Clippers are to the LA Lakers. Like even if the Cubs went through that entire drought, like you think Chicago baseball, you're not going to think White Sox. You're going to think the Cubs.
Hey, Cubs, yeah,
the Wrigley Field. Like that's what you think about. And if you ask wrestling fans who they thought about when it came to AEW over the last few years, some people could say a CM Punk drama. Some people thought they would be able to say Adam Cole when he debuted 3 years ago. But 3 years ago, Bryan Danielson showed up and has defied the odds. And I'm going to preview this a lot more on Drop the Mic tomorrow. I'm sure Mike's going to do something for Mouthing Off with Mike potentially for All In if I'm not mistaken. But yes, Bryan Danielson, career versus title, wrestling Swerve Strickland, the main event of AEW All In Wembley. And if Bryan Danielson loses, he's supposed to give up his career. There's been a lot of stuff like, his daughter misses him. He wants to be home. He's wrestling without a contract right now. It's all pointing towards Bryan Danielson losing to Swerve Strickland, unless they do one of this weird, like, hey, give him a 3-month title reign just to say, we appreciate you. We thank you. But there's so many different scenarios we could see. Like we've seen some weird stuff happen the last year. We saw Adam Copeland, formerly known as Edge, come to AEW after being a WWE lifer. We saw CM Punk return to WWE after he was just adamantly against the entire company. And you could be like, oh, Vince McMahon left. Well, CM Punk also did the pipe bomb on his idiot son-in-law and his stupid daughter. Like that was a real thing. So we've seen some crazy stuff. Not a lot of people are talking about the potential of Bryan Danielson, or should I say Daniel Bryan, coming back to WWE for a last run, for a Hall of Fame induction, for a WrestleMania. That should be on the table. People should be talking about that, whether it happens or not. They should be talking about part-time run in AEW, or is he wiping his hands clean and he's like, you know what? I'm done. Like, you will not see me anymore. I am complete and satisfied with my wrestling career. Darion, you follow some wrestling too.
Yeah.
You got a sports show. Super excited what you've been doing. Ended up seeing you on social media and was like, hey, I gotta collab with this guy. I need to do it. What do you think happens with the future of Bryan Danielson? Does he even win this Sunday?
Me personally, I think he loses this Sunday. I think he does. And I feel like he has a Hall of Fame career already. What else does he need to accomplish at this point in his career? Now let's be realistic here. You know he had this neck injury and he has not been the same, and he's been wrestling a little bit differently since the neck injury. He came into AEW. I wanted him to when he first came to AEW, I wanted him to be champion. But I understand where AEW was going. They wanted to go with a different face. They wanted to go with the MJFs of the world and Adam Cole's of the world, the younger guys that was there. But I think he loses. I think, like he said, he wants to be around his daughter more. His daughter misses him. And I feel like every championship that Daniel Bryan held, that's his resume of him getting into the Hall of Fame, from Money in the Banks to Elimination Chambers to title, Intercontinental, World Heavyweight, WWE Championship, Tag Team titles. What else does this man have to accomplish? Yeah, we might want to see dream matches. Probably the most thing that probably us as fans wants to see is dream matches with Daniel Bryan said, or Daniel Bryan, whatever which way he wants to say his name. But I feel like this is his last hurrah at this point. I think you just want to go home, be with your family, or just come back to wrestling and be an announcer. Why not do that? You know what I'm saying? You could do something in that realm to keep you and still keep you intact with the wrestling business, or do some behind the scenes stuff, be a general manager, or do some behind the stuff that help write stories. I just think Daniel Bryan doesn't need to do nothing else. Now, it reminds me of the Shawn Michaels retirement. Now, after Shawn Michaels got retired with the Undertaker, when Undertaker, ended his career, you see Shawn Michaels going to the background. He faded out. Now he's running NXT just like Triple H did in the beginning, and finding new talent and training them. You could do that too, Daniel Bryan. You have so many options. You don't have to be in the ring to make an impact. I think he loses Sunday and figure out his options from there.
So Darion's got Bryan Danielson losing. Rick 8-Bits got Bryan Danielson winning and having a 1-week title reign. We're going back to the 99 world title reigns for WWE when they were like just flip-flopping. Darion doesn't like that. Mike,
I can't stand the 1-week reign. I can't stand that. I just don't understand. It's pointless putting the belt on somebody.
That could kill Swerve's momentum if that were to happen. Might be our rubber match right here.
Okay, so here's the problem. You would have asked this question to me a week ago, I would have said Bryan Danielson wins the world title at All In. Now this week I saw some stuff hearing about, there's this neck thing that's lingering around, and then his daughter, he said that his daughter is like, oh, I want you to come home and, be with us and stuff. So I'm torn. I think it could go either way. I'm very torn here in this match. I truthfully, what I would like to see happen, I would like to see Bryan Danielson win the world title at All In Wembley. I'd like to see them give him the pyro, the confetti, the celebration of a lifetime. Everyone comes out, shakes his hands, whatever. Like, it's a happy moment. But I have a feeling it'll be Hangman Adam Page costing Swerve the world championship here in All In, so we can kickstart that rivalry, because at the end of the day, that rivalry, it's in the background right now. And I definitely could see them putting the title on Danielson. Let's say Danielson gets to Wrestle Dream in Washington, drops the title to possibly Swerve, possibly another Washington native by the name of Darby Allin. Just depends on what happens with Darby and Jack Perry. I'll get into more on that on Mouthing Off with Mike. But I right now, I'll say Bryan Danielson wins.
Huh. Okay.
Interesting with Darby Allin there. That's an interesting one.
That's where he threw me off, man. That is where he...
Keep an eye on it, folks, because...
But you know what? I wouldn't be surprised at that, though. Give that man the title. He deserves it.
Yep. I think it's coming down the pipeline. I think whatever happens, I think let's be real here. I think Jack Perry, Darby, he puts Darby in the coffin. We don't see Darby for maybe like what are we in end of August? Maybe like comes back mid-September around New York, wins something to get a title shot in October, and then boom, you have, I think potentially it all depends on what happens with Swerve and Hangman. I think those two stories are going to end up kind of three stories are going to end up winding together. Whatever happens with Darby, Jack, Hangman, Swerve, and Danielson, I think they're all kind of connected right now in the AEW side of things. And, to the people that say Tony Khan can't tell stories, just saying he can. I'm just saying. Just saying.
Oh.
He's told multiple stories here. You just gotta look.
Mike's like, you guys gotta pay attention to this stuff. And Mike pays attention. He studies. He does his research. And by research, he watches a lot of wrestling and he does a lot of nightcaps and he spends a lot of time digesting everything. It was a great time on the nightcap last night, digesting everything that happened on Monday Night Raw with Nit Ram from Four Sides of the Ring, myself, and mouthing off with Mike. But then we threw the Wrestle Dream. I'm still stuck on that. Wrestle Dream being in October in Washington. Dude, that's got me torn because it's like, do you convince Bryan to, stay for the duration of the year and, be able to sell more tickets to that pay-per-view? Or do you think you can, sell it on the back of Darby Allin potentially competing for the world title? We'll get to see a lot what happens. That's something I gotta sit on. I'm gonna sit on it because I'll have the wrestling podcast tomorrow on Boom Broadcasting, and Mouthing Off with Mike will have the nightcap tonight for NXT. Again, I was on last night's episode.
Fire NXT tonight too, ladies and gentlemen. Fire NXT tonight too. Cannot wait.
It'll be so good.
Joe Hendry. Joe Hendry, Pete Dunne, Wesley, triple threat, number one contenders match to face All Ego Ethan Page at No Mercy. Cook, a number one contenders gauntlet match with the women. If I can name them all off the top of my head, I'll be impressed. I know we got a Sol Ruka, we got a Carmen Petrovic, we got a Kendall Gray, we got a Jada Parker. Ooh, I know there's two more I'm forgetting. Oh,
keep going.
We got I think. I couldn't remember, man. I lost the last two, but fire NXT tonight. So if you watch NXT and if you don't watch NXT, I implore you, wake up, stop sleeping on NXT. It's cooking. Shawn Michaels, master chef. He's got 3 Michelin stars right now. I don't need no Dave Meltzer stars. I got Michelin stars for Chef HBK and NXT, baby.
Let's go.
To mess up a quote. Wake up, Neo. Chef Michaels has you. We're doing a lot of stuff on Boom Broadcasting. Tomorrow we'll have quick hits in the morning, drop the mic, the wrestling podcast in the afternoon. Lombardi Party will be airing 24 hours from now. The new Green Bay Packers podcast by Carson Williams, and then of course Mouthing Off with Mike will do his nightcap before Out Pocket is back on Thursday. But Boom Broadcasting isn't the only place. Ooh.
Oh, wait a minute. Darby won the Royal Rampage and is the number one contender for Grand Slam. There it is, ladies and gentlemen. There we go. Now we've got an interesting story to tell.
Booking like a Mark always keeps us honest.
Yeah, dude, they are fact
good.
Checkers.
They were fact checking you hard last night too. It was funny.
Everybody fact check me. I'm just over here yapping about the graps. Let me be.
Yap about the graps. So Booking Michael Mart, thank you for watching. But as I was saying, Boom Broadcasting isn't the only place you can go see some good content. Darion, where can the people find you?
Well, they can find me at the Darion Hopkins Sports Show. It says it right there. And I do have a second channel now called Darion Hopkins Sports Show Clips, where all my clips will be uploaded. So I wanted to separate the two. And I have my Nothing But Raider podcast YouTube channel as well, which we do that podcast every Tuesday night at 8 p.m., which we're not going to be able to do it tonight because I know everybody's going to be, most of my crew is on the West Coast. They're going to be going to the Raiders game. I mean, the Raiders practice, the open practice. So we're not going to have the show tonight, but Nothing But Raider podcast Tuesday nights. And I'm still trying to figure out the days for the Darion Hopkins Sports Show due to school opening back up because of work and everything. So I'm gonna put that on hold for right now. I do play-by-plays, live stream reactions, especially when it comes to wrestling. Anything sports that most likely I did the Olympics not too long ago. Did amazing job with it. But yeah, same thing. TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, same thing, all at D Hopkins Show. So y'all can all follow me there.
Yeah, you guys should, because I spent today making sure I followed him on all the platforms. I ended up discovering him on Facebook and was like, hey, we gotta collab. We gotta get this guy on Outta Pocket. And Outta Pocket will be back Thursday, 5:30 p.m. Eastern time for your viewing pleasure. Chris will be back for his second. What are you doing with your hands?
I was trying to do
Whenever
like
you want me back, just let
5:30.
me know.
I was
Whenever you
trying to
want
do
me
like
back.
a 5:30. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what ended up happening here.
So 530.
There you go.
Darion's like, it's
I you know,
Yep.
I
Just
tried
doing
to, I
one
was
hand.
gonna lie and be like I was doing ASL, but like no, I don't know ASL. So
on that note, Outta Pocket will be back 5:30 Thursday with Shannon Smith from Podcast Smitty from Quick Hits, and Chris for his second appearance. We'll talk some more baseball, and we'll may throw some football at you. But for Michael Davis, it's been Mike from Mouth It Off with Mike, Darion from the Darion Hopkins Sports Show. This has been Outta Pocket, and we'll see you back here on this YouTube channel on Thursday.